I lied to you, you know, about why I left Orlais. In a way I did, but these feelings were triggered by events which I did not tell you about. I didn't feel like talking about it then, what happened to me. Maybe it will affect us, maybe not, but you should know. I came to Ferelden and the Chantry because I was being hunted in Orlais. I was framed, betrayed by someone I thought I knew and could trust. Marjolaine. She was my mentor and friend. She taught me the bardic arts, how to enchant with words and song, to carry myself like a highborn lady, to blend in as a servant. The skills I learned, I used to serve her, my bard master, because I loved her, and because I enjoyed what I did. She was a remarkable woman. I cannot fully express the admiration I had for her, or the depth of my affection. I thought I knew her. My devotion to her blinded me to her less than noble attributes. You can say it was my fault. There was a man I was sent to kill. I was to bring Marjolaine everything he carried. I don't know who this man was. She gave me a name and a description, and I hunted him down. I found documents on his body, sealed documents. My curiosity got the better of me. Something told me that I needed to know what was in those letters. Marjolaine had been selling all kinds of information about Orlais to other countries, Nevarra and Antiva among others. It was treason. Some. But I had always assumed Marjolaine only operated within Orlais. This was an unhappy surprise for me. My life as bard taught me that my loyalties should be kept fluid. My concern was not that she was a traitor, but that her life would be in danger if she was caught. Orlais has been at war with so many countries. It takes a harsh view of such things, as I later discovered. I should have left well alone, but I didn't. I had to tell Marjolaine I feared for her life. She brushed aside my concern. She admitted her guilt, but said it was in the past. That is why the documents had to be destroyed, she said. I believed her. I kept believing up till the moment they showed me the documents, altered by her hand, to make me look the traitor. Yes, the Orlesian guards. They captured me. Did terrible things to make me confess and reveal my conspirators. It was a traitor's punishment I endured. And at the end of it, all that awaited me was eternity in an unmarked grave. No. Survival was my only concern at the time. The skills Marjolaine taught me were good for something at least. I broke free when I saw the opportunity. I did not seek Marjolaine out. If she thought I was coming for her, she would have me caught again. I was tempted to confront her. I was furious, betrayed. But what could I do against her? And so I fled to Ferelden, to the Chantry and the Maker. Ferelden protected my person, and the Maker saved my soul. And that is the reason I am here. The real reason. No more lies between us, at least in this. It feels good to have this off my chest. Thank you for listening and understanding. I enjoy the nights at camp. The night always seems more peaceful to me, safer. I feel the night grants us a reprieve from the troubles of the day. Silly, isn't it? The darkspawn never sleep, and they lurk in the shadows. I enjoy those nights when we stand guard together, talking to pass the time in those small hours. Well, I talk and you listen mostly. Sometimes I succumb and fall asleep and wake to find you still watchful, and I know you're watching out for me. What I'm trying to say is that I trust you. I'm comfortable around you. I know you'll be there when I need you. You are our leader and my friend, and sometimes I think that maybe we could be more than that. Maker, look at me stumbling over my words like an ill-educated peasant girl. Some bard I am. I'm not embarrassed. I'm just flushed because of the heat. Really? No one told me. You felt the same way and didn't do me the courtesy of informing me? You made me say all those things. Why couldn't you have said them first? Oh, you... Oh, how very awkward. Well, yes, but don't question me. I am a woman and I reserve the right to be inconsistent. Oh, chivalry is so dead, making the lady spill her guts like that. Well, that settles it then. I see you're still with Morrigan. I thought you said she didn't mean anything to you. What are you playing at? You tell me you like me, that I mean something to you, and you have her on the side? It's not fair to either Morrigan or me. Do you say the same things to her that you say to me? Just show me some respect. Show us some respect, please. Stop playing with my feelings. If you want her, tell me so. I care for you, more deeply than I can say, but I can't watch you going to her all the time. I see. That's your choice then. I understand. Excuse me. I have to be alone for a while. Something I can help with?
The Circle of Magi stands ready to assist, Grey Warden, as do the Templars of the Chantry. The sincerity of your cause has drawn them together under a common banner. It would not have happened otherwise. Such a force has not been seen since the collapse of the Tevinter Imperium.
Your dog is filthy. I can smell him 50 yards off. That may be so, but all the same, I would like your permission to bathe him. Excellent. I will get my soaps, and the dog shall have his bath after supper. It's been a long day. Rest would be welcome. Yes, of course. I am just a little weary. As you may have noticed, I'm no spring chicken. Thank you. You're very kind to say so. But in all honesty, I do not know how many years I have left in me. I have lived for such a long time. But there is always something else to do. And I have to keep going in order to do it. I think I will be glad when I am done. Oh, no. I'm not the sort of person that leaves things unfinished. I'll see this through, I promise. Have you encountered many abominations, apart from the ones in the Circle Tower? You are younger than I, and your nerves yet have some steel in them. Did you feel any fear facing the abominations? The first time I saw an abomination, my blood turned to ice. It was months before the nightmares stopped. It was the knowledge that I could easily become one of them that frightened me the most. Every mage is vulnerable, no matter how accomplished or powerful. That is the first thing we learn, and overconfidence can lead to recklessness. One slip. All it takes is one slip, and everything you are is simply gone, replaced by madness. And there is no turning back, or at least that's what they say. Of late, I have begun to wonder if there is any way an abomination can be cured, or if a mage could be so possessed and still retain their sanity, their humanity. Yes, it is madness and cruelty that define abominations. If those are lacking, if the mage remembers the person they truly are, then they are not an abomination. I never saw that. Thank you for showing me another way of looking at it. Irving told me about how you became a Grey Warden, and that unpleasant incident that occurred prior to your departure from the Circle. Stupid or desperate or just curious, he's not the first. He won't be the last. But that aside, you're a Grey Warden now, and perhaps I presume too much by saying this, but the Circle is proud of you. And perhaps you would be dead now. Thinking such things is neither productive nor good for your soul. You can agonize about how you should have been at the tower, or you can imagine that you weren't there because you had to be elsewhere. Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to, that it will be all right. You were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant to be. I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others, about serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. Oh, but you are. Your king serves you, does he not? A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome. You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? Well, she's hardly discreet. The way she looks at you, it's as though she's completely forgotten there's anything of you above the waist. Oh, sweet maker. Is a little decorum too much to ask? Moving along now, I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. She is a cunning woman, a Maleficar. She will use you for her own ends. I am telling you what I see and what my instincts tell me. And even if the feelings you share are genuine, this affair may not be the best thing for either of you. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this. I am just trying to minimize the suffering that may come to either of you. I have given my advice. Do with it what you will. What's on your mind? Is something troubling you? No one said it would be easy. You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight. And that gives me hope. Have you heard much about the Grey Wardens of old? Griffins. Alas, that seems to be the only thing people remember from the tales. The mighty flying mounts that bore the Grey Wardens into battle. Ah, yes, the glory days. It was said that watching the Wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago. Maker's mercy, it's like talking to a child. Yes, there are griffins in this story. The blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above, it illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums and stood before the armies of men. The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled. This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, and now it shall be your blessing and your burden. What's on your mind? I will answer to the best of my ability. People don't become mages. They are born mages. The talent just surfaces later. But you are asking how I ended up at the Circle. I was brought there by the Templars, just like many of the other apprentices. I don't remember very much. I was very young then. I set a boy on fire. I didn't have a family. I never knew my real parents. My earliest memory was of hiding in a hayloft on a farm, trying to keep warm. I was found, and the farmer's wife was kind enough not to send me away. But they had children of their own, and I was never made to feel welcome. The eldest son was the worst. He was always calling me a stray, and throwing anything he could get his hands on at me. And I don't know how it happened, but one day, he just found his hair on fire. Fortunately, there was a large trough nearby. I had singed his hair and eyebrows, but injured little other than his pride. Who knows what they would have done to me had he been more seriously hurt. Thankfully, all I had to endure was a few nights locked in a cold barn with a bowl of water and a crust of bread. The Templars arrived several mornings later. One of them ignored me, but the other was kind to me. He gave me sweets and even sat me on his shoulders once when I wanted to look over a high wall that ran along the road. I'll never forget the moment the Templars led me into the entrance hall of the tower. I had never seen anything so grand in my life. I stopped being afraid then. I knew I was home. We were the lucky ones. I learned very quickly that for every apprentice in the tower, there was probably one who never even lived to see the Templars come. No child, not even a mage child, is a match for an angry mob trying to place blame for a failed crop, a hard winter, a baby born dead. Well, that's about all there is to my tale. That's how I came to the Circle. It has been almost a year, hasn't it? Do you miss the tower at all? You can take a mage out of the Circle, but you can't take the Circle out of the mage. Or so Irving used to say. He was joking, but there is some truth to the statement. A mage never really leaves the Circle, and for the rest of your life you will be seen as a Circle mage. Yes, even though you are a Grey Warden now, you are a mage, and always will be, especially in the eyes of others. You represent both mages and Grey Wardens, and your actions may reflect well or badly on both groups. Remember that. Oh, but listen to me go on. You start a conversation, and I just run away with it, don't I? I've been mentoring apprentices for so long, it's become something I do unconsciously. I don't know if I could stop even if I wanted to. What's on your mind? No, you won't. I don't think so either. You would not have been happy living a dull, uneventful life, dying in obscurity. You wonder sometimes, don't you? If your life would be better if you weren't who you are. When I was a young woman in the tower, I came to the realization that the Circle would be my life, and I would know no other. Family, love, a simple life. These were things that others took for granted, that I would never have. It made me very moody. All I could think of was being trapped in that tower with no way out and no end in sight. I started hating my life and myself, and one night I found myself in the tower's chapel. I was seeking refuge, maybe answers. I must have looked tearful or made some noise, because the revered mother came out and decided to speak to me. And because I had no one else to talk to, I talked to her. I must have said many silly things, but she told me that the Maker puts us all on our paths for a reason, and fighting our intended course is what causes so much anguish. I thought the old biddy was full of rubbish. I was 15, maybe 16, and I knew everything. So I left, but I always found my way back to that chapel. And as the years passed, I began to see the truth of her words. We were supposed to be polar opposites, mage and priest. But we weren't. There was much about us that was the same. Not all priests choose their path. Some children are given to the Chantry to raise and become initiates. The revered mother had lived in the Chantry all her life, as I had been in the tower for all of mine. She taught me that you can find your family in the people around you, that you can love your work and find fulfillment in duty. And there is joy even in self-sacrifice. If you put others before yourself, then their well-being is yours, and their happiness is your happiness. You can scream and cry and be angry about life as a Grey Warden, or you can accept it and allow yourself to see the good in it. This is your choice. What's on your mind? I will answer to the best of my ability. The Circle is in good hands. Irving knows what to do, and he doesn't need me underfoot. For now, I will support those that battle the Darkspawn. I do feel I left things unfinished in Ostagar. There is so much left to do, and I would be part of it. The Grey Wardens, all 2 of you, need all the help you can get. I will see this through to the bitter end, and after that, if I am still left standing, then I will return to the Circle. Perhaps. What's on your mind? Oh, yes, and thank you for asking. I'm feeling much better today. Well, thank you for your kindness, my dear. It certainly warms these rickety old bones.